The following is a conversation with Ivone and Joep Housz, the wonderful couple who created and live in Quinta das Águias, a remote place somewhere in Paredes de Coura in the north of Portugal. In there, they are developing a project that embodies their respect for nature by promoting veganism through beautiful and delicious recipes, biodiversity, and a sustainable lifestyle. Their house is a haven for the various animals that live there, and for the people who are fortunate enough to be able to go there and rest their troubled spirits away from the city and surrounded by a genuine nature. I am one of those fortunate people that had a chance to meet them. Their humbleness, hospitality, and kindness warm my heart, and their wisdom has inspired me to think how to live a more sustainable life. I cannot wait to go back there and meet them again and try their delicious food. If occasionally during the podcast I look distracted or looking through the window, it's because some sheep would come and greet us through the window eating the grass from the pottery. About the editing or any technical issues, bear in mind that I'm starting as a total noob and I'm doing this thing by myself. Any feedback that you have is kindly appreciated if given in a kind way. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy. And 3, 2, 1, boom! We're live, we're rolling. Hey there, Ivone and Joep. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We are here at beautiful Quinta das Águias, a place you created by yourselves. I want to ask you, when did you guys move here?
Yes, well, we discovered the place in the end of 2004. Because we were living in Porto, and we had the feeling at that time, well, we have lived all of our lives almost in big cities, and we wanted to return to nature and to have a more sustainable lifestyle in harmony with nature, because we understood already 15 years ago that, more than 15 years ago, that it was not going in a good direction, our relationship as humanity with nature. So we decided to go, and we remembered from our childhood, me in the Netherlands and Ivone here in Portugal. We lived in close harmony with nature, and most of that nature is gone nowadays. So we were searching for a place, and we ended up here in Alto Minho. I loved it. Was love at first sight when Ivone took me to Alto Minho, and then we found this place as abandoned farm in Paredes de Coura, and we decided to buy it and to live here.
It is the place.
The two of us, and then from there on started a project that we never imagined that it could be like this.
So it was completely abandoned when you came here the first time?
Yes. So no chemicals were ever used here, and it was for about 40 years. It was abandoned. Yes. Before that, it was used as a farm.
We couldn't see, for example, the oaks we see now. We couldn't see them because they had herbs and lier. How can I say?
Brambleberries until the top of the trees.
The place where we constructed our wooden house, we couldn't see that place. Really couldn't enter there. But like this, it's really a pure place because no chemicals, no many human intervention, human intervention since 40 years. So it was what we really liked. And nature here in Paredes de Coura is still so pure. The air, the water, to find a place also with adult trees, with big trees, it's not so easy. So we were very happy to find this place.
So you are happy that you found the place you were looking for when you came away from the city?
Yes.
You think this is like where you belong?
Yes.
Absolutely. And it was really we felt mostly the energy of the place, which is an energy of life, of pure life, which was covering the planet before we came on this planet. And so, yes, it's a treasure, and we found this treasure, and we recognize this treasure. And after we settled here, then more and more people started to discover how well they felt here, surrounded by nature and the energy of nature. And that's why because our project was in the beginning was a very selfish project,
Yes.
just the two of us.
That's true.
And please not being disturbed by neighbors and all this kind of stuff. And but then people said, "Oh, I feel so good here," and even simple people. I mean, truck drivers that came to deliver stuff, they recognized it, and that's why we decided to open the place for others.
Maybe everyone who lives in the city just needs bad neighbors to push them out of the city. You don't belong here. Go back where you're alone.
Yeah.
That's true.
Maybe everyone should be a bit bad behavior in the city. We should be bad to each other, make noise at night.
Well, what I notice, having lived in many cities around Europe during my lifetime, is that people in the cities they tend to be different. People here in the countryside, especially people that have lived all their life in the countryside, especially the elder people, they are so pure. They are so. They don't pretend to be anything else than that they really are.
Yeah.
And in the city, people think they have to put up a facade and to pretend to be different. I think, yeah. I mean, it's a very general statement, but
I get what you mean, and I think it makes sense because we are constantly faced with the pressure to look in a certain way because of dressing codes, of job expectations, of from the derived from the and the rhythm of the city overall. It's never stopping. It's always going on.
Exactly. Yes.
I was saying we love people here in Paredes de Coura because they had most people, especially the elder people, they really had a very difficult time since they were born. Even when they were still in the womb of their mothers, but they have such a big heart, and so we felt from one side we loved nature, but we also loved the people. And at the beginning, they considered us quite different because they were saying, "Oh, they have animals, but they don't eat them. Why? They have the sheep, for instance, the pigs. They don't eat them." But after they began to accept us, I think they observe a lot, and so they thought, well, they are good for animals, but they don't harm people, so they are good people. And we began interacting with people, and now we feel here really like family. It's very nice because to install in a place and to be very closed. In fact, what we thought that at the beginning that will be here closed, but we also changed, and our fears were disappearing. We became more opening the heart, opening the mind, and now we feel very well here in the place.
Do you think you're changing a bit the mentalities of around here, just so that people don't look at animals only to eat them, but also to respect them a bit more?
Well, it's a two ways teaching, more or less. Because we learned from the people, and we learned what Ivone said also, to overcome our own fears, because and if you look at the history of the region and how the relationship between with the social classes were in the past, then you can understand how people felt in general about people coming from the city with higher education and things like that, that they were suspicious. And it's all a matter of fear of how you're going to interact with each other. And so we learned from them to become more authentic and more ourselves, and no need to keep up appearances here. And the people learned that, what Ivone said, that we are just ordinary people, that we're good people, and just care about other people and care about nature and care about the animals. So, and the interesting thing to see is if you have that I call it an inclusive attitude, being part of the family, of being part of the club, then and you're accepted through that, then you have the ability to change. But it is more about, let us say, not changing people by teaching them or making commentary on how they live, but just by being an example to them and showing them we live our way, a sustainable way of living in harmony with the animals and with the nature. And people recognize that, and I think that is the secret. If you want to change, it's in fact what Gandhi said: "Be the change you want to see in the world."
I think that's perfect, because we are in our society, especially with all the media and the easiness to see the lives of other people through social media, through the internet. There are so many examples of people doing great things that I feel we devalue them a bit because of just one more guy like this, and we scroll down or scroll to the sides. But if we know those people in real life and we see them leading by example, rather than it's already one more in the sea of information we have, I think that's really impactful. So you're doing a great job.
And then what it is, if people see that we live this way of life, and they see that we're happy people with this way of life.
You can be happy without killing
because
animals,
everybody,
eating them.
because nobody wants to be unhappy. We all want to be happy. So that and I think that's what you show. Is like our children also, they learn that their parents they work their ass off to achieve in this society, but it was not that brought them happiness. And I must say that Ivone and I, we both had a career, in a business career, let's say, and we see that now living a simple life, and it is in a material way, every day becomes more simple, brings more happiness because of the harmony, because of the oneness with other beings and with nature. That is really the secret to a happy life, and not having every month a new car and a bigger
new clothes and perfumes and
all this kind of
jewels
stuff,
and nothing.
and houses around the world or something like that. Now having the honor to live in this place, to borrow this place from nature, to live our lives here.
But that's true. We are privileged to live in a place like this, because nature, only the energy of nature, if you enter this place and if you don't meet anybody, only nature is really so harmonizing, and people feel, our guests, they really feel very happy and calm and relaxed when they spend here some time.
And we see even people that stay here for a couple of days. We see them changing. They come from the city, from Lisbon, from wherever, full of stress and sometimes depressed, and then they stay for a while here and they eat good food, and they absorb the energy of nature, which is a harmonizing energy. And they change, and they go out. Yes. They go out of the gate as renewed people.
And the animals that normally the best host is our sheep Zacarias.
Yeah, when we entered, we were like, "Oh, such a cute sheep," and there's like instant good mood.
That's it.
That's good, icebreaker. But I think that statistically, you're privileged to be here, because there's not many people who just leave the city. As I understood, you were living in cities and you were not happy with the way your life was going, so you decided to make the change. And statistically, there's not so many people doing this change, especially in Portugal, because Portugal is a very dual country. It's like everything is on the coast, and then the countryside is kind of desert. So it's like night and day, and the option is there for everyone, but only very few take that step. Do you think that's true?
Well, we meet.
To make the question.
Sorry.
That's okay. Say what you want to say.
Yeah. And because it's very interesting, this point, because we meet very, especially young Portuguese people that come here and that live in the city, and they feel that they are missing something in their life. And they are looking for a change, and they say, we want a thing like you have done here. Well, of course, you need the merits and you need the possibilities, and so to do that, and it's also for us the fruit of a lifelong hard work that made it possible. So it just doesn't fall out of the sky. I mean, you have to create your own opportunities in life. It doesn't come out of the blue.
So you're in a way raising the bar as to the requirements that you need to move, but whilst a lot of people share this feeling, if they don't meet these requirements that you say you need to have the work that you put in before, do you think that they are kind of trapped in the city, or can they make the same move as you?
I think everyone. I think what is essential in this is to have a mission, or to bring meaning into your life. Huh? Mm-hmm. Very often I had this vision of, suppose I'm dying, what do I want to be left of me? Do I want anything to be left of me in this world? That having contributed to this world, having contributed to a better world, and if you have a clear focus of how you can contribute your life to create a better world. For instance, we have often journalists coming over here, and then we are talking about this subject, and they say, well, through your work, and even André, through what you are doing now today, is you contribute to a better world if you pass the message to other people, which will inspire other people. Yeah. So I think whatever our livelihood is, we all have this possibility, but the essence is that we understand what's going on in this world and how can we contribute to a better world, and focus on that in everything that we do, and don't continue to complain about the government should do this, and of course they should do their job, and the industry should do their job. I think a good example is what we see nowadays is that the food industry is now putting all their marketing efforts in promoting plant-based food, mm-hmm. because they have understood that this movement of people that choose for plant-based food is the fastest growing market. Mm-hmm. Why? Because there were some activists in the beginning that saw the picture how the livestock industry is destroying our planet and our health, and so they choose for that, and this movement has been growing in such a way that it has become an important market. So this shows that the change comes from ourselves. And then you see the industry is following, and then you will see that the government will be following. So if we want the government to start this movement, you see that is seeing the logic and seeing how our own role and how our own example and our own choices are influencing what is happening in our society.
So you think that it's the people who have the greatest responsibility? Because I always think that it's the government that should direct, because
no,
the people that change is only very statistically few, and it's the manufacturers that need policies, clear policies, to actually change the market.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it's together. We have to do it together because the government is an enabler with the laws that they make and the taxes that they structure, etc., etc. The industry is an enabler because they have to provide the products and they have to promote the right products. But it is how can I say? It's a joint structure. It is not pointing at others. It is. I cannot. Well, once every 4 years we have the ability to choose our government or the people in it, and we have some influence on the industry. But it's through our own behavior that we bring changes. It is not through sitting and waiting until others take up their responsibility, although they have that responsibility.
That's true. That change, when we want to change, it is quite demanding. We need to let go our fears, our attachments, and when we live in the city, it is really a quite different style of life. We really have some friends. That's why I was smiling with your question.
Yeah.
That arrive here and they say, "Oh, this is amazing! What a place! What you have done here! well, you can, isn't it? And I was thinking, and well, they have so much money. Of course, they could do if they would like, because here we can, because we have really a very, very simple way of life. We eat most what nature, not. Unhappily, we still need to buy things a lot, and especially for animals, because it is more than 130 animals, and we need to buy a lot.
To feed them,
But since we are here, we grow also with nature. Some needs we had before when we are living in the city and with the other style of life. Joep and me, we loved perfumes, we loved very good clothes, and we can really use lots of money to it. Is the shoes, the bag, the everything, jewels, everything. So when we are here, we feel so connected with life, even with the plants and the water flowing and the air and the animals, with everything. So we really don't need those kind of things. We are not, how can I say, attached for that well-being, that it's not really the good that comes not from inside, but it is from outside. And we are very controlled with that, because with the government politics, with the big interests, because they stimulate also the big industries and sellers, they stimulate so much needs that in fact we don't need, and we go after. Now we have this, after we want that, we have a car like you had before, and after there is a new model, I want that one. I have the clothes from this season, but in the same season now the fashion changes, now I want another thing. And here we don't feel those needs. So it is also good for us, and for nature and for the planet, because we don't use so much resources.
But you still need some money, and you said that some friends of yours can come because they have a lot of money. And I think money is something that keeps people from coming, because also, as we said, in Portugal is a very dual country, so most of the jobs are in the coast. And we traditionally think of the countryside as a place with no jobs, no opportunity, no way to bring people to stay. Core is doing some good job. Now it's bringing some pharmaceutics, so it's like attracting more well-paid jobs. But I've been trying to think about jobs, and there are some jobs that you can't have here, like company jobs. But do you think that there are other jobs that we're not traditionally used to think in cities that can emerge here and then can still sustain your life, the economic needs?
Yes, I think I'm sure we can, because the pandemic has shown us that people can work at a distance. And we have more and more the digital infrastructure, and what I understand is even that Paredes de Cora is the first community in Portugal that is completely covered by fast internet. And I think that there is a shift in the type of jobs, and what we see is manufacturing has to be concentrated somewhere, or manufacturing is in one place, but many jobs can be done at distance. And so I think there is a possibility to move to the countryside, where life also for many people is cheaper. They can have their own vegetable garden and grow their own vegetables, while during the day working via Zoom and other stuff as an independent or for a company to do their job.
And we have examples here. For instance, producer of enchidos, alheiras.
Yeah, sausages. Stuffed sausages.
Yes, he was only with producing them with pork meat, and so very, very strong in animal products. And he changed. And now he produces sauces plant-based with mushrooms and other vegetable things. And he has such a success that now he even constructed a new building. Afterwards he began to produce also hamburgers, and maybe other things will come. So he is changing, because there is this idea that we need animals to eat animals for our health or for our energy, and in fact that is not true. And if us individually as a consumers, we have a great responsibility. If I don't buy meat, I don't buy cheese, I don't buy milk, the sellers will see that doesn't go out of the shop. So they also change. And this man and Tino and Isabel, it is a family business, and they are doing so well. They sell much more plant-based sausage than the traditional ones. This shows also that people is changing in their nutritional habits, because when they eat vegetable products that can be very tasteful, very good. Joep knows that very well. And they feel good. Everybody enjoys eating, but they feel so good with the food. Afterwards, they have good energy because they are not digesting dead animals. It's the truth, and they are feeling attracted by these things. And this can also, as you said and very well, everybody needs money. And we know that very well, especially with our animals and things we still want to construct here, but especially for the animals. But if people see that they can have money, also because everybody needs to live, and people that have children and for studying and for health, for everything. But when they see, well, if I produce beans, and I earn money, I don't need to produce pigs, for instance.
To give an example about beans, because I know Yvonne, she has a specific topic with beans, but because
the story behind that.
because more than 90% of the beans that are consumed in Portugal, and which should be much more, because if we go to plant-based, then beans is one of the prime sources of protein. But more than 90% is imported from South America, from Chile, and from, I think it's California or so, which is completely stupid, because Portugal has all the conditions to grow the best and organic beans in the world.
Here they grow
our specialists say that the world food system is completely broken, and we have to reinvent the world food system, because that is the main cause of climate change and the main cause of major health problems in the world, etc., etc.
But that comes
that creates opportunities. Agriculture, because before Portugal was an agricultural country, and I think it is for political reasons, I don't know what, but it has been much abandoned when Portugal entered the European community. And I think rebuilding in high quality agriculture, because people say also we should more and more buy local, we should buy organic, and products produced with high nutritional value for better health of the people that consume it. I think then those products, they have to be transformed into, for instance, beans into burgers or whatever you do with it. So this creates opportunities for a new sort of economy, which can for a great deal be based in the countryside. There's no reason not to do that.
What I heard at the time of joining the European Union was that European Union was giving money for us to take back the plantations, to unroot them, so that probably we will buy the one from Germany or France or other bigger countries. So there was probably, I don't know for sure, this is a bit all conspiracy theories that as everything is half true, half false, but probably there was a macroeconomic incentive for us to not be producers, to actually buy other products.
I've heard the same. I have heard the same rumors. I don't know if it's true or not. But the one thing is what we can see is that many of the problems we are facing in this, for instance, the abandoned countryside, which is cause of every year this disease of many wildfires. Many of the problems could be resolved if we give an incentive to create, but then I would say high quality agriculture, because you cannot compete with these monocultures of hundreds of hectares of corn, genetically transformed, etc. You cannot compete with them, but you can if you go for organic food, if you go for high quality food. Absolutely.
It comes back to the dilemma between the individual and the role of the state. Because you were saying that most of the beans we have available in the market come from abroad, from the Americas.
Yes.
And if you have 10 offers of beans from Americas and one offer that is Portuguese, or maybe you don't have any local offer to begin with, consumers, I feel that their hands are quite tired. And I feel that in this case should be a national policy to say, no, we're going to grow our own beans and we're going to put them on the market. So like we're creating the choice for the consumers instead of letting it happen miraculously.
It's a great point. I think, but the market is manipulated because more than half of the budget of the European community goes to agriculture, and most of it goes to livestock agriculture.
Yes.
And livestock agriculture, as we know, is the major source for climate change, is the major source of destruction of ecosystems, etc. So redirecting this money for another kind of agriculture that is ecological, that is sustainable, and that gives healthy products for the people that consume them. I think there absolutely, you're right. A government, local government, European community have a role to play and have a responsibility to take up. I don't know why they are not doing it. I can just imagine, but that's I leave to the politicians to think about that.
Yes, instead of giving subventions to animal production, they could motivate and incentivize much more the agriculture products, vegetables and beans and plant products
grown in an organic and sustainable way.
Yes, and biodiversity also, because we saw in the south, it is really so sad to see huge plantations of olive trees in such not natural way, because olive tree it needs place to grow, so all very very close, very nearby each other, producing it's very sad, like if it is machines, not a living being. It is not an animal, it is not a human being, but it is a plant, it is a living being. And I heard that now there is a very big illness in olive trees. That's what is provoked also by those huge monocultures. And why? Nature, it is so abundant. It produces so much. Why there is so much greed? This greed that human beings have, that they want more and more and more and more and more, exploiting each other and exploiting nature. And one day it will end.
Do you think we could... Yeah, that's true, but do you think we could feed the world, given our current state of technology, without monocultures, with only local grown food?
Yes.
I think it's possible, because there's so many people.
Not only that, if you see that 42%, I think it's 43% of the arable land, so land that can be used for agriculture in the world, for 42% of all the arable land, 42% is used for agriculture. 80% of that is used for animals, for livestock agriculture. So that means that the efficiency, the caloric and the nutritional efficiency of livestock is very low. I mean, with 10%, with 10 to 20% of the land that we are using now, we can produce sufficient nutritional value to feed 10 billion people in this world. There is sufficient scientific evidence for this. But just we have to change the way we use the natural resources, and I haven't then talked about water because at the end of this century we will be without water if we continue to use it at the level we are using it now for livestock agriculture. So yes, we can, but we have to produce different kinds of food.
And when it's in a small scale here in Paredes de Cora, for instance, what I heard that before in ancient times, the people, they were giving their vegetables and products to the school to prepare the meals for the children. Now it's absolutely forbidden. You can use those packed things in plastics and yes.
For health reason, like the security agency.
They say it is for health regions and for hygienic and I don't know whatever, but before there was not so much illnesses that came because you were eating the products that come from very pure, very natural, that were coming from the local producer. Now you need to go to the big supermarkets or markets and to buy those everything packed, everything labeled. So we are very ascetic, but with bacteries, hygiene and so on, but we don't analyze all the components that products have. For instance, potato puree, they can do. They need to buy a bag full of I don't know what that has everything, but potatoes, I think it is really small.
And also it is packed with chemicals, and we know more and more that the amount of chemicals that are used in this on this planet every year is devastating. And there's more and more proof that those chemicals, they enter into our organic systems as human beings and are cause of many of the diseases. I mean, before the amount of cancer that we had and all this kind of things was completely different. If you have balanced food that are grown in how do you call it?
Organic way?
In a biodiverse way. To give you an example, over the past 50 years, it has been found that the nutritional value of the vegetables that are grown decreased by 50% in average. So
that's a lot.
Because the nutritional value depends on the ecosystem in which the vegetable is grown, and the more diverse the ecosystem, the more rich is the nutritional value of the food that we eat. And we see it, the food that we grow ourselves. We have our own organic farming here for our own use.
And the guests.
And for the guests. And the food tastes completely different, and you feel completely different with this type of food. So...
but that's something you cannot really obviously perceive, because you have a leek in the supermarket and you have a leek that you grow here. They look different, but there's still a leek.
Mm-hmm.
But
yes,
your leek is probably more nutritious more nutritious.
Yes,
your
true.
body absorbs it better than the supermarket. But that's something you cannot perceive.
Yeah,
you only know when there is a different one.
You can.
That's true.
No, but you can perceive, because if you from the animals we can learn a lot, because the animals, they know exactly what is good for them and what is not good for them. They feel it, they smell it, they taste it, and they sense it. We have lost this contact with nature. And I think we can re-establish this contact with nature. And that is also why we should teach our children to bring them back in contact with nature, because our ancestors they lived in harmony with nature, and they knew what was good to eat, what was better to eat, and because they had this feeling, and you can develop it. Personally, when I buy things, for instance, I feel I have a feeling for what is good and for what is not good.
But that's true. You have the opportunity to choose, so you can perceive this is a huge one, very nice. But when you cook and you see, no, it has not the same value, the same energy, that even the smell that this smaller one, but that is grown in a natural way, organic way, or here in the farm.
Yeah, but how do you know? Is the smell, the intensity of the flavor, the color?
Exactly. It's all of that. And the energy also. You feel it is like it is a big one, a huge one, and a small one. And the small one, it is like it is full, vibrant of energy, and the other one it is like a big apple, and it is empty, like it is empty. It is nice and big and good shape,
and all laws, they are now on appearance of food. It must appear like an apple that is well shaped and this kind of things. In spite of having an apple, but it was a little hole in it where some animal proved that it was a good apple.
But that's good. Also, Paredes de Cora once again is pioneer, because they have a very, very nice market on Saturday mornings. Every Saturday morning, with the municipalities, she puts there the small houses where people can, the local agriculture people can sell their products there, and we see there is lots of people that go there instead of going to the other market. That is there is even 2 weeks, and some, when we have here guests on Saturday, we always tell them to go there, and they come with products also, and they say, "Oh, it's amazing how I found this and that and that," and so it is very good that we begin to have this kind of initiatives.
Yeah, but you say that you know the difference, but to know the difference, you need the two kinds. Now let's think of people that is the majority of the world population that lives in cities and knows mostly cities. They only buy the supermarket leek, and they probably don't know that it's so bad. And I think we live in a very unlucky generation, because for the past 4 to 5 decades, we had this boom of technology and of living conditions in comas. Plastic was introduced, and with plastic we had lots of promises. We had the promise this: if you leave this in natural way, it will rot in 7 days. If you put plastic, it will survive for 1 month. And it's like, it seems a very easy equation, very simple. Put plastic, good; not plastic, bad. And what I feel is that we forget that reality is so complex, that putting plastic means more waste, then it means more contamination, means different consumer habits. So it's like a chain, and everything is connected.
Yes,
and we made these decisions very simply.
It's the whole system. Well, one of the things is you can learn. For instance, one of the first examples that we have seen was a school in Mallorca, where we went to see a project where the children, they grow their own vegetables in their vegetable garden. They learn how to cook with it. So they get and they go to the forest. So they get reconnected to nature, and they get reconnected to this project, because we learn. In fact, we learn not from the books. We learn through experience as people. And so we have to create opportunities, especially for the children, to recreate, to create the opportunity to learn this kind of stuff, because after air to breathe, the food that we eat is the most important thing to stay alive. It's much more important than a job, because a job we need because we need to buy the food, for instance, or we need to give meaning to our life. But food is so important, and in fact, we treat it as completely unimportant. We have outsourced it to the industry that is only interested in one thing: it is making profit.
Yeah.
So they use the cheapest ingredients, not bothering about nutritional value and health value of the of the food that they sell. So we have to make people critical. We have to make them aware of this.
That is something I hope the new generations, or from now on, I take back when I say new generations, but because I think that's a challenge of the present. It's not the others, it's us. We have to demand more accountability from the industry, because we have so many examples that they want to screw us over, just to say. They're just the medical device industry, the sport industry, the supplement industry. They just want their own money.
That's true.
No one is really caring about the body, and we only have one body. In 2020, maybe in a few decades we can replace parts, but we should not aim for that.
Yeah, yes, we can print perhaps body parts, but well, that is really a Frankenstein solution, I think.
Yeah,
but it's very important. What I was exactly thinking about. We were saying when we see, for instance, TV, or the most of people has not so much possibility to go to study, to research in internet, to read in books, and so they see in TV that, for instance, milk is so good. The cows are announces on TV that the cows are in freedom and they are very healthy, eating fresh herbs and so happy to give the milk, and that's what they show. And after they put also some calcium. It is so healthy. You need that for your heart, and so you see that, and you think that is the truth. And in fact, it is not. So most of people has not this opportunity to see the difference.
Yes.
And with new generation, that's why it is so good. For instance, this podcast, people that will listen to this, they will see that there are all other other things involved that maybe not no, never mind, but and with children, as you were saying, we had such good experience with the children that comes here from the school, because Paredes de Cora also has this program, educational program, so the Projeto Terra, and also with the schools. So every year the school comes here, so the children they do a visit, they can pet the animals, they feed the pigs, and they see animals in another context, not like meat. Most of them, their families have animals for consumption, but they see that animals are sensitive. In fact they are sensitive like us, and that makes also a difference. It is in education, I think.
Yeah, I think if the countryside can bridge the gap that currently exists in cities, at least in Portugal, to the higher end education. For instance, there are no universities in the countryside. I mean, there are some, but usually it's regarded that the best universities in the most notoriously fields like medicine, engineering is on the coast. But I think the countryside, as you mentioned, has such a good opportunity to raise mentalities, that people that grow in these places are much more aware of the world, and when they grow up they live a more conscious and sustainable life, and they can make a difference. And if you can combine the fullness mindset or the mindfulness mindset that these people from the countryside have, this connection with nature that the people from the city that are born there typically forget, I think we will have a much more better prepared generation for the future, and one that should put the world where it needs to be put.
Yes,
so
but for that we have to create the conditions. For instance, at the countryside nowadays, agriculture is dominated by using chemicals to grow, to use to use manipulated seeds in order to grow instead of autochthonous ones. So the mentality there is nowadays not so much living in harmony with nature. That has to be retaught to the present generations.
Yes.
But let us say the infrastructure has all the opportunities for realizing what you say, and I think, but that needs a policy also, and there we need local and national authorities to support this kind of things in education and agricultural policy, etc., etc. But yes, I think this could bring an economic boom to the countryside, and that is what is needed very badly here in Portugal. Yes.
Yeah, we come back to the same question: the need for policymakers to be aware of these.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think they are aware of these if the individuals bring the problems to them. Because politics have to deal with a very wide range of issues, and we cannot expect them to be expert in everything.
No.
That's true.
So I think this is like the bridge, the sensitive bridge.
Yes, there again, you have to create the public-private initiative, and I think that is the key to success of change. It is also the key of success to the association Quinta das Águias, that stands for developing a sustainable lifestyle, and the partnership that we have with the Câmara Municipal of Paredes de Cora, that has also as objective to develop more sustainable lifestyle in the community here. Because I think the public-private initiatives working together works much better than only the policymakers making a policy, or private initiatives struggling to find the means, because then the policymaker can provide the means that are necessary to realize this kind of project. So what we need, I think, in the countryside is really those young people that are willing to take up the challenge to develop a new sort of economy, and the policymakers that will support this kind of initiatives.
Completely agree. Let's talk a bit about this place, the Quinta das Águias. And first, but actually, we've been talking about a lot about sustainability, veganism, the going away from eating animals and seeing them as consumption. And I'm curious, when did you guys become vegetarian? At what age, for instance?
I was in 2000, so I born in 57, 2000.
In 2000.
2000.
So you were like 43 around there?
Yes. So exactly because of my ignorance, I didn't know how animals were produced, because I was very occupied with my job, not so much time to do research like now. Meanwhile, this developed a lot also. So now we know how it is in this industry of animal production. And I saw in the Dia do Animal some flyers explaining. We lived in Porto, in Foz. There was an exposition, and I saw how they produced it. They were breeding the pigs and the birds, the chicken, and I was so. And I said, no, I won't eat animals anymore. Even the fish, because I thought, but the fish. But no, fish. When they go to fish, also they very often they capture dolphins, and so I decided that.
My story is a little bit different. I always say I was born as a vegetarian. Because as a child I hated to eat meat, and I refused to eat fish, and I did not want to milk, although I was grown up in the Netherlands, where milk production is vital, and all the advertisements and publicity, they say that you should drink 2 or 3 cups a day to be healthy. And but my mother, of course, being ignorant as most people at that time, thought that this little boy cannot grow up into a healthy person, so she forced me at least to eat meat, and she accepted that I didn't eat fish, fortunately. And I still can imagine the struggle I had to swallow a piece of meat, but finally I managed to do so, and thanks to the fact that there are good recipes with delicious sauces, which makes it manageable to eat meat. I did eat meat, but never liked eating fish. And but I think it's about 25 years ago now, I really had this voice inside saying, "What are you doing? Stop doing it." So that is what I decided from one day to the other. I stopped eating meat, and but then the consequence was that I had to develop my own alternatives. At that time, we did not have in the industry the plant-based alternatives, so I started cooking for myself and for my friends, and that's how it went. Then through the years, I developed my love for vegetarian and vegan cooking. I made my own plant-based cheese and sausages and burgers and all this kind of stuff, which nowadays you can buy in general supermarkets. Of course, not the same nutritional quality, but it is much easier nowadays. But especially when we came to Paredes de Cora 16 years ago, then of course here in the local supermarket you did not find this kind of things. And now, and 2 years or 3 years ago, to my surprise, when I came back from holiday, I went to the local supermarket and I saw there a complete stand with vegan products. So
exactly. I was wondering, was that because of you? Because I was thinking, like, could they have had an influence in this place? Or
I think to be modest, it's not only us. I think yes, of course we have started the discussion and coming to Paredes de Cora as aliens in terms of our food habits. And the owner of the supermarket here also came to the congress that we are organizing every year, and so we had this discussion. There was this influence, but also I think if you look internationally, it's really a very fast growing consciousness of people that choose this kind of product. So it has become a market, and we are not the only ones here now in Paredes de Cora that are vegetarians or vegans, and that eat this kind of stuff. It's really a market for this kind of products.
But restaurants, they are really improving slowly, because they had a good market of those things with meat products, so they don't need to change, I think. But even our guests, we always tell them to go to this place and that, because they do vegetarian or vegan dishes. And even we have vegan cappuccino in Paredes de Cora now, and pizza with vegan cheese.
Pretty good.
Pretty good in Pizzeria Romantica
in the restaurant.
It is, and so this is step by step. Our approach is not confronting people, because nobody likes that. Yeah. We also don't like, and before we also were eating meat and fish, and so and if somebody came to me to say, "We know you are terrible because you eat meat or drink milk," I wouldn't like that. So
yes,
it is sometimes ignorance. We don't know that we are harming, so that the other beings, animals, they suffer like us. And if we are aware of that, we can begin changing.
Yes, and there you come back to education also.
Yes.
It's people becoming aware that when they eat beef, they contribute to the climate change that is harming all of us. So, and then the schools in Paredes de Cora, they were the first in the country, I think, to serve vegetarian meals for their pupils.
In the canteen.
Which is now law, in national law, to serve vegetarian meals to those kids that choose to have this vegetarian meal.
Which seems like so obvious. Like you said when you were a kid that you didn't like meat, it was hard for you to swallow, but for years and decades we have been imposing that option.
That's
but it's
true.
not really an option. We've been imposing that.
Yes.
Imposing an option seems a bit oxymorous. But we've been imposing that condition to every kid in the country. And that's so...
Yes.
To now, for us now, in hindsight, it sounds so dumb.
Yes, because that's true. That's true because people, because of their health, if they're diabetic or something like that, or because of their religion, don't eat some kind of food, then it's acceptable. And if people, because of their choice, their ethical choice or their environmental choice, refuse to eat animal products, then it was seen as a sort of weird kind of choice. And the normal is to eat meat.
And here in Paredes de Cora, they, since I think 3 or 4 years, they do concurso, how can we
Competition?
say? Competition. To see which is the class that has the healthier lunch for at mid of the day they eat. And the healthier lunch. What does it say lunch?
The lunch is a typical Portuguese thing.
So,
I mean, it's the high tea in
the
Britain
middle of the morning they eat something that
morning snack.
morning snack because they brings from their home. And the class that wins, they have a visit here in Quinta. And when they come here, we always, the same you have, the children also have. It is tea and muffins. So they can try a tea without sugar and muffins without animal products. And they love. Sometimes they say, "Oh, tea, I don't want because I was ill and I am sick of tea." But after they smell and this, "Oh no, this is different. I like it." And the muffins they love because there are so much produced biscuits in the supermarkets that are not healthy and with butter and so much chemicals. So we also want the children to try different things. And in fact, they like.
Yes.
You're being quite cruel. Like, I thought you were nice guys, but you're talking about me, about how good the muffins are, and my muffin is still there waiting for me. And just giving this pressure on me.
And he's salivating, but they are always
so good. I'm just looking at it.
He's still there,
Cruel, man.
Our experience is every year, except for this year, we have the Feira Mostra here in Paredes de Cora with local products. And since a couple of years, we have a stand there with plant-based alternatives. And the children that know our muffins and know our tea, when they pass by, they say to their parents, "Oh, Mom, Pa, I want a muffin from here."
Quinta das Águias here. Please, buy here a muffin because Quinta das Águias, they are good.
So that's a great pleasure for us to see that it really rings with the children.
But it is also a pleasure because Feira Mostra, all the associações recreativas, they are there selling their animal products, enchidos and meat and those kind of things, and they have very nice products to decoration of their stands, ancient tools and so. And I was saying, but they are friendly. We began sharing our products. They began doing things for us without meat, like bolo do tacho, very known here with corn flour, and it is traditional with meat, and they do now with organs, and now they sell also. And I was telling them, "Oh well, we have so beautiful things to hang there. It is so nice decoration." So what we thought, we brought all our precious nature things. It is like aromatic plants, and we in the flowers and wild fruits. We brought everything, and it was so nice, our stand. And the children were saying, "Oh, your stand is the nicest here in the Feira Mostra."
It means that it shows very well that children, they are very open. They are open to this. They are still a blank slate.
Yeah, exactly.
And it depends on how they are educated in school by their parents and by the marketing industry.
So there is still hope.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this place, and the conversation just flew away. But going back,
yes.
What does this Quinta das Águias, this house, means for you as a place and as a project for the community and even as a lifestyle? What's the meaning it has for you?
The
impact it has.
Well, first of all, we have to see what it is. Well, for us, it's really. Well, for me, if I can tell for me, but I think for Ivone, it's maybe she can confirm it. I had a career in the fast-growing information industry. That was spectacular. But I had this feeling that being famous, making a lot of money, having every 10 months the latest cars, models, and things like that, was not really the source of happiness that I was looking for, and was not really the source of meaning I would like to give to my life. So having a project where you search the essence of life, try to understand what life is really about. For me, being part of this enormous universe as a little particle, interacting with this universe in a responsible and harmonious way, that is really the source of happiness, I think. But
it is similar for me. So for me, this is like my soul. So my soul is this: the animals, the plants, the nature. And it is like my kids, all these animals, all these plants. Sometimes in summer, unhappily, there are lots of fires in this region. And we are here quite isolated with the woods around. And when they came here were insisting that they clean around. And when they came, the law is this, the house is there, so it is but I always say, for me, the house begins where the gate is there. So all the animals that are here, or the plants that we have thousands of plants that most of them that are autochthon nature from here, but we also planted every year. We plant trees and new herbs and shrubs, and so this is what I was saying. This is the house begins there. In fact, it doesn't begin there because everything is important not to burn. But and also I see, and Joep is the same that we already talked, like Quinta das Águias, it is like a microcosmos that we would like that expand to Paredes de Cor and to the planet, where every life is respected. Every animal, every plant, every insect. We don't kill animals. You will, because all of the animals want to live like we want to live, and we are much happier with this. It is the connection with energy of life, and not with energy. If we kill the rabbits, if we kill the chicken, and we are connected with the energy of death. It is that.
I see. I think what you mean is kind of what it looks from the outside, because for me as an outsider and for other people, this project seems like a statement that is possible to live in this way. It's like saying, it's a cry from a generation that says that our current way of life is unsustainable, but not only that we need to change, that the change is possible, which is the hardest part, which we always say, we need to change, but we have these people that created this place that they showed us the way. They say, it's possible.
It needs effort, but it's possible.
And say, don't forget how green, how vivid nature is. Don't forget that we depend on it. And the fact that we depend on it is something that we also forget. Like you said that you have thousands of trees here. Mm-hmm. And when you came here, it was just this abandoned place. So it means that throughout your stay here in these 20 years, you've seen biodiversity increase a lot. Yeah. So many animals, so many plants, so many types of beings. How important do you feel that biodiversity is around here? How do you feel the place changed as you increase biodiversity?
One of the good examples is when we have guests that come here and they say, what about the mosquitoes? And I say, what mosquitoes? We have once a year a mosquito that gets lost in our bedroom and stings and stings, but we don't have a plague of mosquitoes.
No,
Plagues are plagues and diseases in nature. They are and human beings. They are part of nature. So their plagues and their diseases of human beings are a signal of disharmony. In ecosystems, because and that is the great advantage when you live here. You see how all those microorganisms, big trees, animals work together and form together life, the source of life. And biodiversity is essential for life to sustain.
Mm-hmm.
Our own life depends on it. I mean, if this all would go, we will no longer be there. And realizing this makes us also feel responsible for this. And that's why we culture this biodiversity here as a sanctuary. We preserve seeds of autochthonous plants and herbs and things like that. And because it is the essence of the health of nature. It is the essence of the health of life.
That's also one of the things that I think we forget. We urban people forget, because we as a species tend to as a human species tend to severely underrate the importance of biodiversity. You mentioned mosquitoes, but
it's just an example.
Yeah, no, but it's an example you can pick up because our normal by normal I mean the most common approach to the problem of mosquitoes is I will get a spray.
Yes,
absolutely.
It's not I will plant more plants.
Yes,
we don't see how important mosquitoes and other insects are. And if I see, 20 years ago, when I was driving with my car through the countryside, my windshield would be full of unfortunate killed insects. Nowadays, if I drive through the countryside, almost none. That is really alarming, what is happening. It's really alarming.
So it's like a sign that we are losing those insects? Is that what you mean?
Oh, yes. There is. About, I think, in the last 20 years or 30 years, in Germany, they have been monitoring about 80% of the insects got lost. 80%, 80%, through human intervention. And I think you said something very important is... when we launched our book, we had our friend Eto Lorenzo at the book launch, and he said, Joep and Ivone, they don't talk about the problems, but they give us the solutions to the problems that we are facing now. And I think that is essential, is that we give solutions, like a simple thing as changing our eating habits. People that come here that eat a good vegetarian meal that is tasty, that is fulfilling, etc., they understand that they can change for this type of food, and they say, and many changed already for this type of food because this is sustainable, but at the same time it's enjoyable. Because, of course, we want also to enjoy a good meal.
Enjoyable to prepare, enjoyable to
prepare, and enjoyable to eat. So it is helping people to overcome their fear for change by showing, listen, guys, we are doing this. Our way of life is more sustainable than most of the people, and we are happy here, and also more healthy than most people of our age. I'm almost 73 years old, and
no cholesterol, no high tension.
And the other day I had a little thing to treat at a little accident to treat at the Centro de Saúde, the health center, and the doctor asked Ivone, and your husband, what are the pills what are the medicines that he is taking? Because normally men of my age, they have a quantity of pills they take every day. And she said, none. None? At his age? She was surprised.
But at least her surprise was also the product of the Western mentality, of the Western medicine mentality. Because the Western medicine, also because of macroeconomic reasons, that the power of the pharmaceutical industry that is spreading in the West mainly, and now also in the East, but the East had this tradition of natural treatments. But here, the pharmaceutical industry has pushed everything to be treated at a consequence. Like you have a headache, you take a pill for the headache. You don't ask, why do you have a headache?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's so important that, yes.
And much of our health problems today, they can be traced back to our lifestyle.
Yeah,
and the food that we eat. And there's more and more known nowadays, for instance, about the microbiome that live in our guts, that define very much our health and our food habits. So science is now working at full steam to discover more about that, and I think that will change completely the paradigm of Western medicine.
I think so. Also, when I mentioned that we live in unlucky decades because of the waste industry that has proliferated, but also because of the medicine industry that has proliferated, because we went from no medicine to a lot of medicine, so like from one extreme to the other, and now we see that having too many medicine is not so good, and this is not the approach to make us really healthy. Yes. We have to scale back a bit.
Yes,
because the source of our health is in nature. Huh? Ivone, she knows a lot about the medicinal quality of different types of herbs, and which is very often used by the pharmaceutical industry to produce their medicines. But it is really about, because disease is really a manifestation of disharmony of our own ecosystem, and our own ecosystem is not only Joep is my ecosystem, but it is the way I live in harmony with nature through my food, through my exercise, through etc. And so when I have a disease, the root is that, and then I have to question myself, and that's what you said. Is not if I have a headache. Is how can I? Of course, you can take. But it's really going to the root of that problem. And of course, sometimes lifestyle change is, for many people, is not easy because our habits are very ingrained in our consciousness. But it's possible. I mean, we can change our taste, for instance, in 6 weeks' time. There are examples in 6 weeks. I mean, the things that I love nowadays to eat, I could not imagine 20 years ago that one day I would love that to eat. So,
and like you, I really loved especially fish and meat also with good sauces and so. But I stopped eating animals and their products by ethical reasons. But nowadays there are hamburgers that really taste like milk, like meat, the ancient ones. And sometimes we buy and so. But I always tell Joep, do you know, Joep, now what I like? Yours are the best because they don't taste meat. Now I don't like that meaty taste, but there are so good alternatives now, like hamburgers, sausages in supermarkets that even people that like meat, the taste, if they can think about, no, I really want a more ethical style of life. I don't want to harm animals. I don't want to harm the planet. But if I still like so much the taste of meat, it is good to I buy those hamburgers.
Yeah. I mean, I never tried your food, but by reading the book, by hearing people talk, they all talk wonders.
You need to try.
Yeah. So I'm sure you cook delicious food from all the views, and you show that it's possible to eat like really, really, really good vegetarian meals that you say like, I want more of these. But I think also one of the reasons why people don't go that route to change their palate, to change the way they enjoy, experience, and buy products, is also because of convenience. And that's the major problem one of the major problems of our society is just they know how to cook meat. Meat is available. And it's just so easy to do it.
And it is quick. You go to eat the beefsteak,
just
arrive home, check.
Little bit of salt, little bit of lemon, it's done.
Yes.
You don't need to use fancy flavors, to look at recipes, new recipes, learn a new thing.
Everything in life gives some work. That's true. If you want to have natural, especially how you prepares, because he doesn't go to the supermarket and buy, for instance, soya cream, or no, he does everything from the grain.
Yeah.
He produces our bread, but he buys some cereal grains, and we have
Mill.
to move to make the flour,
grind
yes,
it, yeah.
with stone things, and he does everything. For instance, he does a lasagna, but he doesn't buy the soya cream. For instance, he does himself the cream, delicious cream, and the lasagna is many friends we have that are not vegetarian, and they say, well, for me, this is the best lasagna I have already eaten in my life. So, but you also, if you work, you can't, you need to go to the office, you can't do some things, you can buy other things, you can prepare, for instance, a feijoada or bean stew, you can prepare a big pot of that, and after you frozen, and to go shopping, you need to some time also. So instead,
that's in fact what I explain in the book also to people. When I make burgers, for instance, I make perhaps 100 burgers at one time. So it takes me less than 1 minute to make one burger, and it takes you more than if you are 2 minutes to go to the supermarket to buy some burgers, to go or to buy the meat. Because the meat is even much more work. But you have to, yes, you have to deal differently with the preparing the food, and if you have a busy life, to make your stock in food. But it's possible. And on the other hand, you see more and more convenience goods. You see in supermarkets now, like Lidl, and so you see burgers and plant-based meat and vegan cheese and
also in continent, also here in our local supermarkets. But that's true. It is possible a change, and especially if we are more aware of ourselves, of our body, and more aware of our choices, and that we have the power to make the good choices, and we feel much happier if you are eating a meal. That you know that for this meal I didn't need to harm any animal. I didn't need to contribute to this terrible industrial production of animals, for their transportation, for their the way they kill them. I didn't need to contribute to that. That it gives you such a joy. You are eating a meal with cruelty-free. It is so good.
Yes. Another point in preparing is I know because I studied it, what the food industry is using as ingredients and how harmful they are for human health. For instance, the sugar they are used is the high how do you call it, the corn syrup made out of corn. Which is a very fast sugar and spikes the blood sugar immediately, and which is one of the main causes of the pandemic of the diabetes in this world, and which is the cause of all kinds of problems, heart and coronary, how do you call it, heart and
coronary diseases.
Yes.
The veins, yes.
So I want to know what ingredients are in it, and the food industry uses the cheapest ones and uses then salt and this high glucose corn syrup and other kinds of things to bring taste into it, or chemically produced tastes that they buy from the ingredients industry. So which can be very harmful for our health. So that's why I really decide to cook everything from scratch.
And you like
I know.
to do that.
And
It's a joy for you. It's a joy. A meditation.
I say in life you should do the things that you love to do. And I think sometimes, maybe 20% of the time you should spend on the things that cleaning and all kinds of tidying the house or whatever, that we maybe not like, but I think 80% of our time we should spend to do things that we like, and not only 80% of our time spending on jobs just to make money I think, well...
But it is such a joy to see you when sometimes he's quite... well, but when he's cooking, he's relaxed, and it's such a joy when he's experiencing. Now he's experiencing chili products.
Experimenting.
And we had lots and lots of different kinds of... So he's trying different recipes from different places of the world. After he smell, after he tastes, and when there is a group, now there is not, but before we had some retreat groups here, and he's planning, we are seeing the menu with so much care, with if I do this and that, and if I put it, and you collect this kind of herb for me, and this and that. It is this is life. This is life.
It's beautiful to listen to. Just the dream of everyone to just find something that they like so much to do.
Yes.
It just puts you, even you, like, I'm not seeing him doing any of these things, but I'm just hearing you representing these things, and you have such a big smile on your face that it's so contagious, you know.
And I'm sure every one of us has the opportunity to do the things that we really like. But sometimes it takes courage. It takes sometimes courage to go for the change that you need to do. And but as I say, and then people say, sometimes they ask, well, you're so courageous because you changed so much in your life. When I was in my early 50s, then I say, well, it takes more courage to stay in a sort of life that is harming yourself, your own health, your physical and mental health, that is harming the planet, that is bringing so much harm to all living beings, that takes much more courage to close your eyes for what you're doing than just open your heart, open your mind, and just go for it, because that gives much more satisfaction in life.
But that's why this podcast and speaking about education in school, and I think they're very, very important to awake people, because sometimes we see in the supermarket, and like for instance, I was a little bit before. Also, they go in a hurry, buying this and that, don't thinking too much, and. If you can awake of this way of life that we are imposed by economic system, by creating you desires of this and that, of food and sugar things, of animal product things, and that they produce some dullness in your mind. So you are much more controlled. So you do the things like a machine. If you can awake this your inner power, and choose by yourself, really, is that so? This makes me happy every day eating this kind of products. This contributes to my happiness, to my health? Do I feel good with this for myself, for the others, for the planet? And if we can awake that inner power, and you can decide by ourselves what we like and what makes us feel good and happy, for sure we have that strength to change.
Do you really think that's the easy path? Because, like you're saying, you were saying that it takes more courage to remain in the same situation than to change it. Yeah. And for me, it's very surprising, because I don't really agree in a way, because I think it's easier to just close your eyes and go to sleep than to awake, metaphorically, and say, this is not good enough for me, this is not good enough for my species, I need to change, I need to research more, I need to ask more questions, and I need to do something different. This takes effort. Just continuing does not take effort.
But André, the day that nature knocks on your door and says, André, what you have been doing until now was completely wrong, because it brought all the disaster that we have on this planet, that you have with your health or your mental, whatever it is. When it knocks on your door, then you will realize that it really took courage to face that. It's like,
But that's true. We need effort. But we have the compensation that we feel more alive and more the owner of our life.
Yes.
And not that you don't go with the flow and happily still the flow is in not such a good way, because and you feel such a happiness. But that's true. Everything in life, Joep's life and mine too, everything we managed to do and realize many dreams, but with lots of effort. That's true. For sure. After when we do, so even here in daily life, sometimes I am tired, and I think, but when you go almost till the limit, and that point it is like you see, now I receive this. Help from I don't know where, but
yes.
But you need.
But
we need to do ourselves our work, and habits are difficult to change. That's true.
But it helps very much is taking away our ignorance and really seeing how our choices in life, how our behavior is changing this world and bringing it in the wrong direction. A good example is 6 years ago we started to organize every year the International Congress together with the municipality of Priscora,
Vegetarian Congress,
where we brought together scientists and specialists and activists from all over the world here in Priscora to talk during a couple of days about the impact of our food choices. And the approach we have chosen, the first one was in 2015. At that time, the approach was really very innovative. That was you can say, integrative approach, is looking from different disciplines to this question, what it does to the environment and in an ethical sense, etc., to health. And even the people that participate as speakers, and that normally people like scientists and so that speak at many congresses, they were surprised by this approach, and they said, well, I have learned so much during these days because I learned from people that have a completely other vision on the same problem. And so it's really about that, is taking away our ignorance. And once you see, once I have a disease and I know that I have it and I know what the cure is, then I have to choose to follow the cure or not.
Yes.
And then I would say it takes courage not following the cure, because then you know what your destination will be. And if you take the cure, then you know that you have a chance to survive until the definite end is coming, which is coming for all of us.
But that's true. Speaking about effort, the first Congress, it was so difficult the invitations of many scientists and different people that came from abroad, and UPMA studied people to invite. He made so many invitations. Many refused. Others asked a lot of money, so it was difficult. And the people that came, it was not a lot. We were very near the Congress, and we were saying, we have 15. With us, maybe we'll be 30. What a shame. And after the last moment, people appeared. But from Paredes de Cora, very, very few people. And so we were a little bit sad. We thought, oh, even our friends, and so they don't feel so motivated. But every year, the people, that is changed. The things enter the mind of people, and more people were coming.
I'm just going to say that it has been so much of a pleasure for you to receive me, or for you to be here with me, and for giving me this opportunity to come to your place and to talk to you.
It is our pleasure.
I'm just going to remind that you guys have a book. It's in Portuguese.
It's in Portuguese.
Will there be a translation for English?
I don't know if there is a publisher abroad who was wanting to take up. Our editor is publishing house is prepared to work together with a publisher abroad to have it translated.
Perfect. Okay, where can people buy it?
Here in Portugal, in all the major shops like
Fnac, Housz.
Fnac, Housz.
In Paredes de Cora, in a loja rural. Here
Continente.
In our virtual shop.
What else do we have? And here at Quinta das Águias, all the guests that come here, they go away with a book signed and with dedication and and they are going to make at home the same stuff that they ate here at Quinta das Águias.
Right. People can also sleep here, I think. How
Yes.
can they come and book a night here?
That is through Airbnb. We work exclusively with Airbnb for managing the reservations, and because many people they want to know a little bit more about our project, or just relax for a couple of days and taste the food, because then of course they want to have a taste of it, and they can book through Airbnb. They see the availability, what it costs, etc.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. Thank you, André.
Thank you.
If you like this podcast, consider liking this episode and subscribing to help supporting me in this journey. Thank you.